Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
In this week's episode of the Kindness Project, we talk about colouring books, Cat's Cradle, and we have part one of our interview with Andy Furneaux from St Francis Hospice.
Welcome, my friends, to another amazing episode of the Kindness Project. I'm joined by a girl who is into frogs at the minute, and the man who thinks he governs what makes a good colouring book or not. I'm joined by Charlotte and Russ. How are we doing today, chaps?
Yeah, not so bad, thank you.
Right. Now, before we start recording this episode, we had a quick conversation about your new business idea. Do you want to share with the audience what it is, Russ?
Well, it's a passive income idea rather than a business idea.
Go on.
And it's...
We're the dragons. We'll be your dragons. And
it's low content KDP books.
Right, go on. What's a KDP?
KDP is Kindle Direct Publishing. So you post the books on Amazon, they print them, you pay for the printing, and
right, yeah, direct, self-publishing.
Yeah, self-publishing, yeah.
And can you do that with a colouring book? Because you want a series of colouring books.
You can do that with any kind of book.
Okay.
Absolutely anything. Line books, any kind of book.
Interesting. I mean, I have published a couple of books, so I should know that, really.
And then obviously you get royalties from Amazon. Yeah. For the book.
I don't know, because we're waiting for the royalty check for the Kindness Project one, aren't we? We're waiting for see how many they've sold. But on the I got a royalty check from my first book, my boring pensions book, through this. Yeah, The Princely Sum of £8.
Somebody's been buying it, that means.
Well, that means more than one person's bought it as well.
Yeah.
The princely sum. I think 2 people have actually bought it this quarter.
I don't know where they're finding it, but when I looked on Amazon, there was second-hand booksellers selling it for quite a price.
Well, it's a commodity, Russ, isn't it? It's an expensive. It's a collector's edition because so few are sold. That's what's happened. That's the reality of it. Now let's go back to your colouring books. Charlotte, you had an idea that Russell thought was amazing. Do you want to share with the audience what that was?
Frogs. I've been working on frogs.
Ribbit.
You've been drawing a lot of frogs. My idea didn't go down particularly well, did it, chaps? So I thought a colouring book full of dishwashers, washing machines, just household appliances. And I thought white goods to coloured goods or coloured in goods might be quite a good little thing. Have we got any better idea?
You forget that a lot of household appliances are one solid colour.
Yeah, makes it easy then, doesn't it? If you're a novice colourer,
people don't want it. People don't want it. They want.
Right, hold on.
They want intricate and complicated.
That's right.
The idea of a colouring book is you choose, don't you? If you want to make your washing machine psychedelic, make it psychedelic. If you want to make it 27,000 different colours, do that. It's a colouring book.
Washing machine's just not going to work.
Live long.
If you want to make your iron bright red, I'd love a bright red iron.
I think you've stuck your head in the washing machine and gone for a spin, mate.
Right, all right. Maybe white goods isn't the answer. Maybe pillows. About pillows.
Oddly enough, the way
colouring book full of pillows.
The way your hair's sticking, I mean, it looks like you stuck your finger in a plug as well.
You know what? Because as you guys know, the reason we haven't recorded for a while, I mean, our listeners won't know this because we are seamless, aren't we? We publish professional to a point. We publish week in, week out, but we haven't actually recorded any episodes for a couple of weeks because I've had an operation on my ear. And the challenge with that is I didn't want to go to the barbers and get my hair cut and then mug around at the back of my head until it was properly healed. So I agree, Russ, it is an absolute mess.
I don't think that. I
You
don't
got a
think
I
couple
would
of
love
curly
me to get
bits at the
sorted.
front. Oh,
You know what? During lockdown, I loved growing my hair out, but I had to have a bit of gel
sorry,
and stuff like
growing your
that.
hair is not the biggest problem with having your ear operated. I know. It was
What
the
do you mean?
it was a couple of weeks beforehand where everything we asked you is this going on, that going on. We'll play it by ear.
Look, you can't resist a good pun, can you?
No,
I mean, I can't believe that my white goods to coloured goods colouring book genius pun went down like a sack of spuds.
You weren't there the week after he had the op, and if you were sitting on the wrong side of him, you'd just have to shout because he still couldn't hear you.
I bet that
Would you say? Would you say?
I walked beside him and he said to me, "Come this side, I can't hear you."
No,
Yeah,
no. I was putting you on my deaf side. Right. Now, I would absolutely love to tell you listeners what's going on this week's Kindness Project.
Russ, you
But
forgot
Russ
to
has
attach
sent
the
me
recording notes.
Russ has sent me an email without recording notes.
Oh,
I was just gonna.
Listen, the thing is, we were applauding your professionalism only 2 minutes ago, Russ.
and then it's flooded.
And suddenly you haven't put the show notes so that me and Charlotte can present.
I was gonna say something after our pre-recording banter, and then you were like, "Right, we're starting, so we can have this conversation." I was like,
let me tell you what's happened now.
Well, don't worry about telling us. Just get the show notes over so we can start recording the actual content of the show. In the
I will
meantime,
talk about frogs.
in the meantime, me and Charlotte are going to have a bit of word association, and we're going to pick subjects for your colouring books. So I'm going to go with cows. What are you going to go for?
Farms.
Farms. I'm going to go for dung. A dung colouring book.
Beetles.
Oh, a Beatles colouring. But are they too monochrome?
Not Beetles. Beetles.
No, not the. Sorry, why are the Beatles monochrome? They were in colour. They just didn't have that much colour telly back then.
I think I'll get in trouble if I put Ringo Starr on a colouring book.
What's that?
Well, it's a trademark.
Copyright.
Yeah, copyright.
Right, I just said.
You know what?
Right, if I publish a Mickey Mouse book.
I still can't believe that Ringo Starr formed part of my childhood, and I didn't know for years he was in the Beatles. Because Ringo Starr. Ah, well. Do you know, Raz?
No.
Ringo Starr narrated a show when we were growing up. I think it's still around now, called Thomas the Tank Engine.
I thought you were going to say it was your real dad then.
No, that's Paul McCartney. Who's your real dad? Hunchback of Notre Dame.
Milkman, you know that. The Chinese milkman.
The milkman. Oh, God.
Yeah, absolutely,
Anyway.
Russ.
Anyway, on that note, have you sent the show notes, Russ?
I asked it over, yeah.
So you got cows, dung, and beetles as your first three colouring book suggestions.
Oh.
Listeners, if you've got any colouring book suggestions, email them to hello@thekindnessproject.co.uk.
Holla.
Oh, sorry, holla@thekindnessproject.co.uk. HOLI@thekindnessproject.co.uk.
We could do a
And we would love. we would love. We would. How about the Kindness Project colouring book?
And what would that include?
Just a bunch of silly things we've said with weird designs around them.
Yes.
That sounds quite cool.
Now, this is what we do. We could have all of the things we mentioned in an episode.
No.
And episode 1 was, I don't know what we talked about, like loads of different stuff. And then every page includes the stuff that we talked about in that particular episode.
Let me tell you what, episode 1 as in common with episode 276, we're still talking rubbish.
That's true.
Well, why,
It don't matter it don't matter what episode it is, we just ramble about nothing.
well, why don't we do a rubbish colouring book just full of trash?
That'd be
How about
quite.
that?
Oh
that'd
my
be
god,
quite
you could have little raccoons and hidden in the pictures. That'd be so cool.
Russ has got a couple of them. Russ has got a couple of them as pets. He keeps them in his trousers.
We've got
One for the left leg, one for the right leg. Sorry?
What?
Oh, sorry, no, Russ, that's ferrets, isn't it? I've got that wrong.
What
Is
the
that a
listeners
ferret?
can't see is me and Russ just shaking our heads.
Is that a ferret in your pocket, Russ? Or are you just pleased to see me? Anyway,
that's me Frankfurter, you know that.
oh God! Right, let's move away from this colouring book subject because clearly, if we were taking if you're doing a colouring book with Russell's ferrets, it wouldn't be a kids' book. Let's talk about Mug of the Week. Is Mug of the Week still going on, or is
No, I ran out of mugs so long ago.
Oh, right, okay. So, question of the week, if we get any answers, and Russ and Charlotte can post it on social media, as I'm now a social media ghost, is if you could buy a colouring book containing whatever you wanted, what would it contain? Let's talk about the article this week. Sorry?
Pictures that were already coloured in.
What, a pre-coloured colouring book?
That'd be perfect, wouldn't it?
No,
Oh, yeah.
the art of colouring can be very calming.
And you know what? Colouring is meant to be pretty mindful. You know, they have started to market colouring books as sort of ways to stay.
I've got a joke this week as well.
Oh, you got a joke. We're leaving it to the end. Or are you doing it now?
I'll wait till the end, but I've got a joke this week.
Yeah,
Can you
let me
tell
do
us?
my joke first.
Can you? Oh, my
I
joke. My joke.
have to get territorial about my joke of the week. Damn, okay.
Can you
Getting all
believe?
militant now.
Can you believe you stepped on your toes for joke of the
Oh,
week?
it's
Charlotte?
fine. He can do his jokes. Don't harm no one.
Let him do his jokes. Is it knock knock? Who's there? Where's me ferret?
Oh,
Where's me
let me-
ferret too?
let
I've
me-
just checked your trousers. They're down there.
Let me let me do my joke now so that Charlotte don't miss out.
Go on then.
What do you call a dinosaur part? A blast from the past.
It's
I
not bad.
was gonna go with some pun on the word extinct, but with the word stink in there somehow.
It stinks. Right. What's your article about this book, Charlotte?
Well, as of time of recording it, it is not planned or written yet, but the last one I did was on. Oh, I've been really obsessed with the child game Cat Cradle.
Right, with the strings.
With the strings, yeah.
With the strings, yeah.
Because, you know, I don't know if you've ever seen me with, like, hairbands and stuff, and I just like to have a little thing to fiddle with in my hands to keep my hands occupied. Otherwise, they're here, there, and everywhere. So I bought myself a cat's cradle to sort of keep my hands occupied so they're not flying about everywhere and I don't have to. But I kind of got, like, a little bit questioning about, like, hey, where's this? So I did a little, you know, article on it. That's the last one I've posted.
Cats cradles, right? Okay. Well,
Yeah.
please visit charlottedames.com if you want to know a little bit more about where cats cradles come from, the origin story of a cat's cradle. Interesting stuff. Let's move on to kindness news. You want to give it a go, Raz?
Kindness news.
We could do like
Avatar.
overlay them.
Yeah. Can you do an
Cause
edit job,
yours-
Raz?
Because
No,
Kindness news.
I've got enough to do, thank you.
No, just edit the kindness news jingle, Raz. Add it to your list, mate.
Russ, I'll
Um,
do it. Don't worry about it. I won't. I probably won't. Unless you guys want to send me individual audio files, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't
I'll
know
send
how
you a
to
WhatsApp.
separate them.
I'll send you a WhatsApp.
You know what we need to bring back? The WhatsApp music game.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, we do.
Christ for us.
Expect an email tomorrow. And
Email?
actually, because no, a WhatsApp tomorrow. And because it's a marathon day as we record it tomorrow, it will be a running related song. I've got 3 in mind already.
Sorry, are they running related songs that was on your running playlist? Or are they running?
Yeah, we have to study. I'm sorry.
Running related songs that mention running.
Running related songs that mention running.
Okay.
I'll give you one there. You ready?
We don't
Keep
have
on
that.
running.
Harder and harder. Oh, no.
Running harder.
Faster and faster.
Are you making up your own lyrics now, Russ? Go on, Charlotte. You make.
What was that from?
Sorry.
What advert was that from?
I can't remember. Go on then, Charlotte, your turn. Keep on running.
Till you reach the sun.
Till you reach the sun.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay, maybe we should play a lyric game.
That's in front of you.
Right, let's do kindness news. I'm going to talk about a Josie from the Isle of Wight to get a short story published thanks to Kickstarter Kindness. A 7-year-old girl from the Isle of Wight is having her debut short story published thanks to the help of kind islanders. A Kickstarter campaign's reached its £200 target to make Josie's dream of Oh Bird being published become a reality. So far, she's raised £211, with any extra money likely to lead to additional copies of the book being printed, and many being donated to Lord Lewis Library in Newport. Josie's mum, Charlotte, explains, the story was so good, I decided to create illustrations for it in the hope of getting it published. We are really grateful to everyone who donated to the Kickstarter campaign. Josie loves our local library and wants to donate some copies there. Not content with her amazing achievement, ambitious Josie has 2 further stories she's hoping to turn into books. You can check out her Kickstarter campaign for Oh Bird on Kickstarter, and people pledging £10 on Kickstarter will receive a signed copy of the book at the end of the fundraising period in May. Now, I love anything that helps kids inspire them with a passion. And I think that story is a lovely story, highlighting how important it is just to sort of spark a little bit of passion in a particular subject. And if it is writing, helping your kid write a book is probably pretty brilliant to do.
I know there's 2 news stories, but I just wanted to mention the skydive that Perfect Layout are doing.
Yeah, our friends at Perfect Layout are doing a skydive in for St Francis Hospice, who's one of our favourite charities, and we've invited Andy Furneaux back on the podcast to talk about St Francis Hospice this week. They're doing a skydive. Again, I've sponsored them and said it was possibly one of the scariest but funniest things I've ever done, and encouraged them to do it. So
I'd never do it.
We'll put the link to their sponsorship page on the show notes, and if you would like to sponsor 2 amazing people do something quite scary for charity, please get involved, get stuck in and raise some money for that. And on that note, I'd like to introduce the interview for this week, which is for Andy Furneaux. Andy's a really great friend of mine, love him to bits. Met because of the podcast, because he came into my office dressed head to toe in orange, and I'm wearing, I didn't realise, but I'm wearing my Marathon 2021 shirt, which I did for St Francis Hospice, and it's bright orange today. So what we wanted to do is get some of our amazing guests on, particularly since the book's come out, and see what they're up to now. And he's quite prominently featured in the book as well. So let's listen to the interview.
Yeah, we're good.
Right. Okay. So let's crack on. Andy, great to have you back. By popular demand on the Kindness Project. How you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thank you, Christopher.
Good. How long's it been since the last time we actually? I mean, we speak virtually every week, don't we?
We do.
But when was the last time we actually got the opportunity to sit down and talk on the podcast? 4 years?
On the podcast sometime. Yeah, I remember during COVID, Chris, you and Charlotte gave me the opportunity to talk about where we were as a hospice during those very, very difficult times. And I'm going to refresh your memory here, sir. I was living and looking after my pops, who was alive at the time, and he had an orange kitchen, and that was my setting. Do you remember that?
100%. So it was 2 years ago, wasn't it?
There you go.
It was 2 years ago. That's right. I'm glad your memory is better than mine. Talk to me about, because what we're trying to do at the minute, because we've got the sort of book out and we've got so much going on with that. I mean, and I'm so pleased as well that we're raising money for St Francis, by it said in the book. So if you haven't bought the book yet, listeners, make sure you take a look at the links on the podcast. I know we're mentioning it every week at the minute, but please make sure you do that. But talk to me about what's changed over the last couple of years as we've come out of COVID and as we come into whatever this new world looks like for St Francis now.
Well, that's a really great question straight away, Chris, because an enormous amount of budget that was set aside for ordinary patient care and patient things, so much budget had to be used to make us compliant as an organisation for the safety of people coming into the hospice during those times. We had to reduce the risk of infection coming into the hospice. So for that reason, the amount of patients, visitors were cut down, which we've never done in our history, but we had to. And then, of course, lots of plastic areas were put in place. Lots of furniture was taken away. The whole visual changed completely.
Right.
And it's took a long time to recover. And there was a lot of budget spent there, Chris, on making us up and ready, if you like.
Yeah.
So that was something we'd never planned for, wasn't prepared for. And then what's happened is when all the staff has come back from furlough, and as mass participation events began to come back to some kind of normality, you started to see regular fundraising going on again.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's good.
And then I've been in a meeting just 2 weeks ago, Chris, which has blown my mind with the cost of living increases and the fact that here at St Francis Hospice, yes, the inpatient unit is purpose built, but the old house that we inherited or that we bought back in the end of the 70s is not an energy efficient house at all.
No.
So everybody is now stressing what kind of expense we're going to have to find with the cost of living expenses. So
I mean, it's I mean, if it's energy, it's 15-20% as a minimum, isn't it?
Yes. So I was actually in a meeting just yesterday, sir, because I work with a company that do solar panels. They're energy efficient, and I'm saying to the facilities manager here, I need to get you guys together because yes, there could be an enormous outlay, but it could save us a lot of money.
Yeah. And I suppose that's the challenge, isn't it? You know, like that. I know that you guys invest a lot in making sure you're sustainable over the long term, and that's the win, isn't it? The win is can we deliver care today? It's can we deliver care over the next 30 years?
Because as we've discussed, Chris, the most important thing about St Francis Hospice is that we're there for our community, that our patients come in and get the very best care possible. And to the very best of my knowledge, that's unaffected. What goes on around them is for us to deal with, not them. So when they come in, it's all about them getting the best experience at the hospice.
But this is the interesting thing, isn't it? Like we're having this conversation about the logistics of running a hospice, and I suppose part of the thing you want is people in the background doing that work, so that actually when you need the care, you don't even know. You don't even know all of that stuff's going on. All you're worried about is how you want to spend the time at your end of the life with the people you love.
Chris, I can give you a story that's as true as we are sitting here today interviewing each other. A very good friend of mine contacted me Thursday of last week Hadn't spoken to her in a while. Oddly enough, I've done some fundraising with her. She's fundraised for cancer research in the past, and she contacted me and she said, Andy, I don't know if you're at work today. It's all happened very, very quickly. Mum's very sick. Mum's coming in tomorrow. This was Thursday. She came in on the Friday. I was out all day. You know how busy I am,
Yeah.
Chris. I did Romford, Upminster. I did Woodford and Ilford last Friday. So by the time I got back, I never saw them. But on Saturday, we had our St Francis Hospice ball in London.
Yeah.
And I was coming in to pick up those last few things and the van to go into central London. And as I'm carrying a parcel, I heard a knock, and it was coming from an inside a glass door. And my friend was there, and they opened the door, and her and her brother was there, and Mum was on the ward. And I was chatting to them, and they were saying, oh my God, this place is amazing. And where Mum's come from, she's so strong, but she's settled. It's great. Sadly, Chris, she passed on Monday, right?
Oh,
That's the reality of the work that we do here.
yeah.
So exactly what you just said, the perception of the patient and patient family, they come in, they have that kindness that you constantly refer to until end of life.
Yeah.
But everything that's going on around them, we take care of.
Yeah, exactly. And it's about taking that. I mean, I suppose the work of a hospice team is just taking all of that away. So that what really matters at the end of life, which is some of the people we love and just being cared for.
Yes,
that's
sir.
That's all the focus on.
Yes, sir.
Is there a story that like explains best that? You know, what was the thing? Because I remember when we first met.
Yes, sir.
Like you were telling me stories about the stuff that you like. I don't know, sneaking in a little bottle of brandy for somebody, or like because at that stage it doesn't matter, does it? Do you know what I mean?
So yes, I've got
tell me a bit about an experience.
I've got two stories there.
You've
Two
just
stories
made
there.
somebody happy at the end of their life.
Okay, nobody sneaks booze in, Chris. It's open here. It's absolutely open. You don't have to sneak it in. So what happens is it's infamous. We've had a booze trolley here at St Francis Hospice as long as I've worked here and long before. And actually, the trolley was in need of a bit of either WD-40 or a freshen up. So Barry Hearn bought us a new trolley, right? True story, true story. However, what happens
Have you got a little plaque? The Barry Hearn Memorial
probably, because that and it probably gets polished. But here's the thing: what happens is that somebody pushes around at night a trolley that's got teas and coffees and hot chocolate and any hot milk, anything a patient may want. But if they want some booze, that is not a problem.
Yeah.
Right. So if they want a glass of sherry or they want a little gin, because you know what, Chris, ultimately having that drink at that stage, that's not going to end their life.
Yeah, exactly.
The illness that they have is going to end their life. So yes, have a glass of gin while you're. But I saw an amazing thing the other day, Chris. And again, I need to tour you round because things do change. We had a really, really young patient. Her name was Ria. On our social media, on our website, you can read Ria's story. I won't go into that now, but she was in her 20s, 25 actually, and her family have funded a pergola in our.
You showed me when I was there.
Oh, it's beautiful, right?
Yeah.
But it's big enough. It's got outside heating and all that. And I watched a patient the other day get wheeled out in his bed. He was in his bed, big smile on his face, and he came out and he went in the pergola. They switched the heating on, and he had a cigarette, Chris. Right? And honestly, I kid you not, this is what I witnessed.
Yeah, at that stage, mate, it don't matter, does it?
No,
You know what I mean? If it makes somebody happy.
Chris, he was happy. He was happy.
Yeah.
He was happy. But do you know what? Something I've saved to tell you for this, specifically for this interview today, when you talk about the work of St Francis Hospice, what we do and how we try to go above and beyond, I got brought into a meeting. This is so fresh off the press. It's not even really out yet, Chris. I got brought into a meeting 2 months ago. There is a company, they run a thing called a Jumbulance. Research it. Ask your listeners to research Jumbulance. It basically is what it says on the tin. It's a jumbo ambulance. And the idea behind it, Chris, there is enough room on this ambulance for patients to come on, whether they're bedbound, whether they're in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
And this is the first time we've ever done this at the hospice. But what's happening is the Jumbulance is coming to us in December. And I think there's room, don't quote me on this, but I think there's room for 10 patients, all with one-to-one care with a nurse, and a member of their family, and they're being taken to London to see the sights and the lights
Oh,
for the very
amazing.
last time. For the last time. Now, here's the thing, Chris. This is where I come into it. I think, so why am I in this meeting? And then I find out that it needed funding. So they said to me, Andy, is there anything you can do here? The invoice is going to be for £1,250. In an ideal world, we'll get another couple of £100 on top of that so that we can provide snacks and drinks for the patient's family for this trip. So, Chris, you know me, I'm a sucker. I was sold instantly. I was sold. I was like, right, I'm going to make this happen.
Yeah.
So what I've done, Chris, is I've gone round to various different networking groups that I do and the different businesses that I've traded with. And instead of saying to somebody, could you give me a lump sum? I've asked 5, 6 different to do £250 each. And I've got it.
Oh, amazing.
And I've got it. And I'm so proud, Chris. I'm almost emotional as I'm telling you this, because
the memories that's going to create, Andy, are going to be huge.
it's a money can't buy thing, isn't it, Chris? At the end of the day, again, the patient doesn't have to worry about the expense. I've worried about that.
Yeah.
I've worked with some tremendous people that have stepped forward and said, that is an exceptional thing to do. I'm in.
Yeah.
And for a successful business, Chris, £250 isn't backbreaking, is it?
No. But the reality is, Andy, and again, we've spoke about this quite a lot, you and I don't know if we've ever spoken about it on the podcast, but my experience working with business people, as you know, I do in my sort of in the day job and being part of the business community and all that sort of stuff, is most business people who have done all right do feel not an obligation, but a desire to give back.
Chris,
I certainly do.
Your philosophy,
I'm not unique.
Your philosophy of do well, do good, has stuck with me. It's really stuck with me.
But you know that, like, as I said, like we articulate in that way. But there's plenty of business people out there who, given the opportunity, will just contribute because they know that they've been lucky enough. And yes. I said I was at the thing yesterday, and somebody I always say that I've been lucky, and I go, no, you worked hard. I was like, a bit, but also there's that element of luck. If you've been lucky enough to have opportunities that have allowed you to build something of worth, then you do want to give back. And you know what the weird thing is? There's an element of like you want to make sure that like the local hospice is there in case your family needs
100%. Your family, that's right. Chris, you are, if you don't mind me saying, you're selling yourself just a little bit short there, because you're saying, oh, if you've been lucky. I would agree with those people that you've spoken to. You've worked damn hard to be where you are now, Chris. Not everybody has the guts to go out alone and start a business. There's many people that are employed with good jobs and they're paid well and they think, I'm doing okay here. I don't need to step outside the comfort zone. You did, sir. You did. And by you doing what you've done, you've also created jobs for other people. You've employed people. And Chris, we met the day that I walked in and did the Kindness Project podcast with you for the first time. Since then, we've not only become great friends, I've discovered what an incredible man you are. Please, Chris, please do not sell yourself short. And I'll tell you why. And I want your listeners to hear this. Because of our friendship, because you have an interest in running, I said to you, come on, Chris, I really think you could do the London Marathon and you could do it for the hospice, right? And at mile 17 at Mudshoot, Chris, me and you, and I'm getting emotional as I say it, me and you had the most emotional hug as you were 17 miles through the marathon. You are a man I admire.
More fun pushing the family out the way to get a hug first. I was up for the hug, but like pushing my kids out the way, that was a... I'm joking, clearly.
I know. But you know what it is for me? What it is for me, Chris?
You know, I don't know if you know this, but one of my mates, and he's such a lovely guy, is your photographer. So I was out for a drink with him a couple of weeks ago, Trev.
I love Trevor Robinson.
Yeah, you know I'm mates with Trev. You know we go out for curries and drinks and stuff.
No, I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
So Trev I've known for, he used to go to my gym. I've known him. I've known him for years. I know he was at the ball.
He was at the ball.
On
Very
Saturday.
smart as well. He looked very, very smart.
And he does like loads with the cadets and stuff like that. And even though we'd been going out, so every month we did the Bermondsey Beer Mile a couple of months ago, like back into the summer. That was a bit weird, but he's such a good guy, Trevor. I've got loads of time for him. And clearly I know about the work he does with you and stuff like that. But Cassie said to him, Cassie said to me, I said, "Oh, right, I'm out with Trev tonight. All right, say thank you to Trev because he was so good with Sophie and Charlotte when they were and it's that, like, anybody involved in the hospice, be it, you know, working employed or just helping out and
Volunteer.
There's such a good vibe around like what everybody does. Is it like, do you find that?
Chris, it's a family, and there's and there's a photograph that exists from this year's marathon. We're at mile 17. We were traditionally always at mile 23. Then when it was kind of coming out of COVID, they weren't really letting the charities along that stretch, 23. So we went 17, and it's almost an unknown area. But what's great is there's no barriers at that point. So again, you've got that personal connection with your runners that you've worked with for so long. But this year, Chris, we had literally an army of orange. And we have a guitarist, his name's Skip Atkins. If I never told you about him at the time, we could do a whole kindness project on Skip Atkins, an incredible man whose wife passed away here at the hospice. But when she was dying, he's a musician and he was allowed to bring his guitar on to the walls and sing and play to her when she was dying. Right now what he does is he busks some fundraisers for us. And if you look at his guitar, he has an orange scarf that's tied around the fretboard, right? That's the scarf his wife used to wear when she was dying.
Oh God!
So he busks. So he comes to London Marathon. He brings his guitar and a portable amp, and he ramps up the songs. And there we are. All these runners are going past, and we're singing Amarillo. And there's this orange army, and you can't miss us. You can't fail to hear us. And honestly, Chris, it's my favourite day. And if you wasn't running, I'd ask you to be involved in that station because it's the best cheer station on the London Marathon.
Amazing. Absolutely love it. Well, so tell me about the ball then, because we haven't spoken since then. How did that go?
Okay.
And tell our listeners a little bit about what you did.
It was incredible. Over the years, we've done many balls. We always look for sponsorship first so that whatever we're laying out is not too expensive from a fundraising perspective. So when we did a James Bond ball a few years back, just slightly pre-COVID, the Aston Group sponsored that. Yeah. So we had an Aston Martin outside of the entrance and all that. There is a glam that goes with balls, isn't there? You know, I even went and got a bow tie myself this time and 3-piece suit. I mean, everybody dresses up, but it's all in aid of St Francis Hospice. So over the years, we've done Highlands House, we've done Allsit Hall, we've done the Essex places, right? Because we haven't been able to do anything like that for the last 2-3 years or engage with our major donors, the major donors team said, we're going to go for this and we're going to go for it big style. Yeah. So they went Central London. They went Central London. People were behind the venue. It was spectacular, the venue. And yes, Chris, there is an outlay, but you're a businessman. You speculate to accumulate. You look for a return on your investment. Yeah. Yes, we invested in this event. I can honestly tell you, hand on heart, Chris, profit is over £100,000.
Amazing. Great stuff.
Think about that for patient care.
So that was Andy, bit of a legend, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And on that note, we are coming to the end of the show. And
here's the end.
Even though Russell did try and gazump your idea, it's actually time for Charlotte's joke of the week.
Now would be the perfect time for my nose to start leaking. Absolutely.
Is that the joke?
No, sorry. There we go. Knock knock.
Who's there?
Yeah.
Thermos.
Thermos who?
There must be a better way to get to you. No, that's awful. Awful.
Yeah, that was truly awful.
Yeah.
When Russell's joke is better than yours, you know you're doing something wrong.
Yeah.
But I love it when it's awful. So thank you, Charlotte. I appreciate it. That is the end of another Kindness Project. We would love to see you next week. Have a lovely remainder of the week, and we'll see you soon.